Hey guys, welcome back to First Chapter Friday. Today we are going to be reading a book called Sadie, written by Courtney Summers. I read Sadie about a year ago, and it is mystery, and it's way different than anything I've ever read. And what I mean by that is this book kind of flip-flops back and forth between two different storylines. So Sadie is a teenage girl that is a runaway. And it starts out with this talk show host. Well, I guess he's a radio host, who this story of this missing teenage girl has been brought to his attention. And he and another man that work together are kind of going back and forth on trying to piece together what exactly happened to Sadie, why she ran away, where she could be now. They're basically trying to investigate and solve this missing person case over the radio. And then it also goes to Sadie and what's actually happening with her, where she is, what she's doing, why she's run away. And I won't tell you what exactly happens, but Sadie, her little sister was murdered, and she is trying to kill the man who killed her little sister. She knows who did it, and she's trying to track him down. So at the same time that these men are trying to piece together her story, she is talking about what's happening with her. So it goes back and forth, which is really, really interesting. The book starts out with the actual phone call to the radio station about Sadie and those men and their conversation about what is happening, and then it jumps to Sadie's point of view next. So I'm going to start with Sadie today. And yeah, here we go. 3 days. Oh, nope. Wrong part. That was the next section. Okay. I find the car on Craigslist. It doesn't matter what kind, I don't think, but if you need more to work with, it's boxy and midnight black. The kind of car that disappears when it's next to any other. Backseat big enough to sleep in. It was offered up in a hastily written ad and a sea of hastily written ads, but this one riddled with spelling errors that suggested a special kind of desperation. Make an offer, please, settled it for me. It means I need money now, which means someone's in trouble, or they're hungry, or they've got a chemical kind of itch. It means I've got the advantage, so what else do I do but take it? It doesn't occur to me that meeting someone on a road outside of town to buy a car for any amount of money I'm willing to pay might not be the safest thing in the world, but that's only because what I'm going to do once I have the car is even more dangerous than that. You could die, I say, just to see if the clean weight of those words off of my tongue will somehow shock the reality into me. It doesn't. I could die. I grab my green canvas backpack off the floor, shrug it over my shoulders, and run my thumb over my bottom lip. Maybeth gave me blueberries last night, and I ate them for breakfast when I woke up today. I'm not sure if they've stained my mouth, and I have a hard enough time with good first impressions as it is. The screen door on the trailer is rusted out. Sparks of wine into all our surrounding, nowhere that matters. But if you need a visual, picture a place far, far less than suburbia, and then imagine me a few more rungs down that ladder, living in a trailer rented from Feed Me Blueberries Maybeth for as long as I've been alive. I live in a place that's only good for leaving. And all that needs to be said about it, and that is all that needs to be said about it, I don't let myself look back. Doesn't matter if I want to, it's just better if I don't. I grab my bike and ride my way out of town, briefly stopping on the Green Bridge over the Wickers River, where I stare down at the water and feel the dizzy pull of its raging currents in my gut. I dig through my backpack, pushing aside clothes, bottles of water, some potato chips, my wallet, until I find myself entangled up in a ball of underwear. Cheap piece of plastic. Doesn't even have a touch screen. I throw it in the water, and then I get back on my bike and ride to Medlar's Road off the highway to meet a woman who wrote the Craigslist ad. Her name is Becky with an I. She'd write that, with an I, like I couldn't see it for myself in every email she sent. She's standing next to a boxy midnight black car, one hand rested on its hood and the other on her pregnant belly. Behind her, another car is parked, a little newer. A man sits at the wheel with his arm hanging out the window, and he's tense until he sees me, and then all his tension seems to melt away. It's offensive. I'm dangerous. You shouldn't underestimate me, I want to call out. I have a knife. It's true. There is a switchblade in my backpack. A leftover one from my mother's boyfriend, Keith. A long time ago. Oh, it's from a long time ago. He had the nicest voice of all of them. So soft it was almost fuzzy, but he was not a nice man. Lara? Becky asks, because that's the name I gave her. It's my middle name. It's easier to say than my own. Becky surprises me the way she sounds, like a scraped knee. Long-time smoker, I'd bet. I nod and take the cash-fatted envelope from my pocket and hold it out, $800 in all. Okay, so she countered my initial offer of $5, but I know it's a good deal. I'm more or less paying for the repairs they made on the body. Becky says I should get a good year out of it at least. You sounded a lot older in your email. I shrugged and extended my arm a little further. Take the money, Becky, I want to say before I ask what you need it for. Because the man in the car does look pretty itchy, unfixed. I know that look. I know it anywhere, on anyone. I can see it in the dark. Becky rubs her swollen belly and moves a little closer. Your mama know you're out here? She asks, and I settle on a shrug which seems to satisfy her, until suddenly it doesn't anymore. She frowns, looks me up and down. No, she don't. Why did she let you come out here all alone to buy a car? That's not a question I can shake, nod, or shrug to. I lick my lips and steel myself for the fight. I have a knife. I want to tell the thing that wraps its hands around my voice. My mom's, the more the redder her face gets, the less she knows where to look. Not at me, not directly in my eyes. My throat feels tight, too tight, choked. The only way I can free myself is if I stop attempting to connect the letters together. No matter how hard I try it in front of Becky, they'll never connect. I'm only fluent when I'm alone. Ed. The stutters hold lessons. I breathe. Jesus, Becky says, and I know it's not because of the inherent sadness of what I've just told her. It's because of the only way that it comes out of my mouth, broken. She steps back a little because that crap is catching, and if she gets it, there's a 100% chance she'll pass it on to her fetus. Can you drive? That's one of the more subtle ways someone has asked me if I'm stupid, but that doesn't make it any less maddening coming from a woman who can't even spell the word please. I tuck the envelope back in my pocket. Let that speak for me. Maddie used to say it was my stubbornness, not my stutter, that was my worst quality, but one wouldn't exist without the other. Still, I can afford the risk of pretending Becky's ignorance is more than I'm willing to fork over for her used-up car. She laughs a little, embarrassed, says, "What am I talking about?" Of course you can. And again, less convincingly, of course you can. Yeah, I say, because not every word I speak turns itself into feces. The vocal normalcy relaxes Becky and she quits wasting my time. Shows me the car still works by bringing the engine alive. She tells me the spring in the trunk is busted and jokes that she'll let me keep the stick they use to prop it open at no extra charge. I my way through the transaction until it's official, and then I sit on the hood of my new car and watch them reverse out, turning left onto the highway. I twirl the car key around my finger while the early morning heat slowly envelopes me. The bugs find me in their territory and make a feast of my pale, white, freckled skin. The dry, dusty smell of the road tickles my nostrils. I slide off the car and roll my bike into the brush, waiting for it to fall on its side. Maybeth gives me blueberries sometimes, but she also collects expired license plates, displaying them proudly inside the shed behind her double wide. All different colors and states and sometimes countries. Maybeth has so many license plates, so I don't think she'll miss two. The registration stickers are courtesy of old Miss Warner, 3 trailers down from mine. She's too frail to drive and doesn't need them anymore. I muddy up the plates and wipe my dirty palms on my shorts as I round the car and get in the driver's side. The seats are soft and low and cigarette burn marks are all on the spaces between my legs. I slip the key into the ignition and the motor growls. I push my foot against the gas and the car rolls over the uneven terrain, following the path out that Becky took until I reach the highway, and then I go in the opposite direction. I lick my lips. The taste of blueberries long since left them, but not so long I can't still imagine their puckered sweetness enough to miss it. Maybeth would be so disappointed when she knocks on my door to find me gone, but I don't think she'll be surprised. Last thing she said to me was with my face cupped firmly between her hands was, "Whatever you're thinking, get it out of that dang foolish head of yours right now." Except it's not in my head, it's in my heart. And she is the same woman who told me if you're going to follow anything, it might as well be that, even if it is a mess. So that is the end of the first section with Sadie, and then it goes back to the men who are actually trying to investigate where she is and what exactly happened. This book has some curse words, so sometimes I stumble because I'm trying to change them. So again, this book is called Sadie. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you would like to check it out, come see me in the library. Thanks.